protection from the Dajjal, practical steps, and spiritual fortification. Part 11/20. Assalamu alaikum, and welcome back to Sufi. Essence with Hammad Syed. We've spent the last few sessions delving into the terrifying reality of the Dajjal, his nature, his deceptive powers, and his global reach. The picture can seem daunting, even overwhelming, but Allah, in His infinite mercy, does not leave us without defense. He has provided us with clear, practical steps and profound spiritual fortresses against this greatest of trials. Today, in part 11 of our 20-part series, we delve into protection from the Dajjal, practical steps, and spiritual fortification. We will explore the specific actions and spiritual practices recommended by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. To shield ourselves from the Dajjal's Fitna, this is about empowerment, about knowing our tools of defense, and building an unshakable inner resolve. Join us as we equip ourselves against the ultimate deception. Part 1. Spiritual Fortification. Cultivating a resilient heart. The primary defense against the Dajjal is not external, but internal. A heart firmly rooted in Tawhid oneness of Allah and profound Iman faith. Deepening Tawhid oneness of Allah, the core of the Dajjal's deception is his claim to divinity. An unwavering belief that there is no God but Allah, and that Allah is absolutely unique. Free from physical form or defects, unlike the one-eyed Dajjal, is the ultimate shield. Knowing Allah's attributes and names helps to recognize the Dajjal's falsehood. Constant remembrance of Allah Dhikr, keeping Allah in our thoughts. Tongues and hearts through Dhikr remembrance strengthens our spiritual connection and acts as a constant. It's a reminder of His absolute power and our servitude to Him alone. Patience, sabr, and trust in Allah Tawakkul. The Dajjal will use hardships like famine to test people. Cultivating patience during trials and placing absolute trust in Allah's provision, even when appearances are grim, is crucial. Reliance on Allah's help. Understanding that the Dajjal's powers are merely a test, permitted by Allah, and that ultimate power and assistance reside only with Allah, fosters a complete reliance on Him, purifying the heart from worldly attachments. The Dajjal's temptations often appeal to materialism. Detaching our hearts from excessive love of wealth, power, and worldly comforts, and prioritizing the hereafter, reduces our vulnerability. Part 2. Prophetic supplications. Our spiritual armor. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, specifically taught us powerful supplications that serve as direct protection from the Dajjal's Fitna. Dua in every prayer. The most emphasized dua is to be recited in the final tashahhud of every salah. Allahumma, Ina, Adubi, Kamin, Adhab, Jahannam. Wamin, Adhab, Al-Kaaba, Wamin, Fitnat Al-Masa Wamana. Wamin, Shari Fitnat Al-Masih, ad-Dajjal. O Allah, I seek refuge in You from the punishment of hellfire, and from the punishment of the grave, and from the trials of life and death, and from the evil of the trial of Al-Masih, ad-Dajjal, Bukhari, Muslim. This consistent supplication builds spiritual resilience. Regular recitation, making this dua a regular part of our daily worship, embeds the remembrance of the Dajjal's danger and the need for Allah's protection into our spiritual routine. Sincerity in dua. The effectiveness of dua lies in sincerity and certainty that Allah will answer. Turning to Allah with a humble heart, seeking His refuge, is paramount. The Prophet's own practice. The fact that the Prophet himself consistently sought refuge from the Dajjal underscores the gravity of this trial and the efficacy of this particular dua. Part 3. The Shield of Surah
Al-Kahf.
A luminous protection. Among the most specific and potent protections against the Dajjal is the recitation and memorization of a particular surah from the Quran. First 10 verses of Surah Al-Kahf. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Whoever memorizes the first 10 verses of Surah Al-Kahf will be protected from the Dajjal Muslim." The last 10 verses of Surah Al-Kahf. Some narrations also mention the last 10 verses, others even the entire surah. The common thread is the power of this particular surah. Thematic. Relevance. Surah Al-Kahf contains stories and themes directly relevant to the Dajjal's Fitna. The people of the cave illustrates steadfast faith in the face of oppression and the passage of time. The man with two gardens highlights the dangers of materialism and arrogance and the ephemeral nature of worldly wealth. Musa, peace be upon him, and Khidr, peace be upon him, teaches about divine wisdom. The limits of human knowledge and patience in the face of outwardly perplexing events. Delcarnain shows righteous governance, global power, and the building of barriers against destructive forces like Gog and Magog. Spiritual insight. Reciting and contemplating this surah is believed to grant a believer spiritual insight and clarity, enabling them to see through the Dajjal's deceptions, no matter how convincing they appear. Regular practice. Making Surah Al-Kahf a regular part of one's Friday recitation is a common and highly recommended practice for this protection. Part 4. Physical and practical measures. When he appears beyond spiritual preparation, there are practical steps believers should take if they are alive during the Dajjal's appearance. Fleeing to holy cities, the Prophet, peace be upon him, explicitly stated that Mecca and Medina are protected from the Dajjal. If possible and safe to do so, seeking refuge in these cities is a recommended course of action. Seeking high ground. Some narrations. Just going to high mountains or isolated places to escape the immediate. A direct confrontation with the Dajjal and his temptations. Standing firm and recognizing his flaws. For those who cannot flee and find themselves in his presence, the key is to recognize his physical flaws, the one eye, the word kafir, and his lies. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "If he comes forth while I am among you, I shall be the one who argues with him on your behalf. But if he comes forth and I am not among you, then each man must argue on his own behalf, Muslim, rejecting his false miracles. Do not be swayed by his apparent control over nature or his feigned ability to bring the dead back to life. Know that these are tests, and true power belongs only to Allah. His fire is cool water, and his water is burning fire. Calling upon Allah, even if faced directly, maintain utter reliance on Allah, and call upon him for strength and guidance. Joining the Imam Mahdi's forces, ultimately, fighting against the Dajjal and his followers, will be led by Imam Mahdi and Prophet Isa, peace be upon him. Believers should strive to join their ranks. Conclusion. Our unshakable shield, my dear friends. The Dajjal's trial, though monumental, is not insurmountable. Allah, in his boundless mercy, has provided us with an unshakable shield. The fortress of Tawhid, the armor of prophetic du'as, the luminous protection of Surah Al-Kahf, and clear practical guidance. Our preparedness for the Dajjal is not about fear, but about spiritual fortification, strengthening our iman in Allah, seeking refuge in him consistently, and adhering firmly to the teachings of his Prophet, peace be upon him. By embodying these practices, we build an inner resilience that will enable us to stand firm against the greatest deception. It's knowing that the ultimate victory belongs to Allah and his righteous servants. This is truly the essence of Sufi essence. Thank you for joining me in equipping ourselves against the Dajjal's Fitna. If this lecture provided you with hope and practical guidance, please like this video to help share this vital knowledge. Subscribe to Sufi Essence with Hammad Syed for more profound insights into Islamic spirituality, and remember to hit the notification bell so you don't miss part 12 of this epic series where we will delve into the Dajjal in Jerusalem, the final confrontation stage. What protective measure resonates most with you, and how will you incorporate it into your daily life? Share your reflections in the comments below. Your insights empower our growing community. Until our next spiritual unveiling, may Allah protect us from all trials and keep us steadfast on his straight path.